So this is the match that got me to 2 UTR, and it was definitely a high stakes game because of the extra pressure that I put on myself and I had to kind of deal with. That pressure came from, being the actual favorite to win. I'm not here to, brag or be arrogant, especially like sitting at basically 2 UTR. But for at least this matchup, I was the higher UTR opponent. And then once I met her, it was clear that I was gonna be the favorite. She was much older than me. I just had all these different advantages, at least physically as well. Not only that, but then factor in the pressure of knowing that if I played really well in this match, there is a good chance that I would be bumped up to 2 UTR. There's definitely a lot of pressure that I generated and infused into myself. And yeah, honestly, it's pretty great to play with pressure. I think, that's one of the things that you should do as a tennis player is you should go in, put some mental pressure on yourself because it helps build that skill. If you guys follow, Carousel, he has a post more toward, I think it's parents and their kids and about kids not wanting to play people that are worse than them. But it is really coming from that position of being the favorite. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Austin, and I'm trying to hit 7 UTR. I'm just documenting my journey. I'm documenting everything that I'm learning along the way, whether that's matches, whether those are the practice videos, whether those are the different technique improvement things. I'm trying to share everything. And so if this is something that's interesting to you, definitely please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out. And I would love to keep you guys coming back to seeing more videos. But yeah, let's break down this actual match. So the final score was 6-3, 6-0. We'll talk about the warm-up. During the warm-ups, I again tried to find weaknesses in my opponent, but she was really consistent. A little bit of more of a pusher, but that's not a bad thing. I know a lot of people really complain about pushers and hate playing against pushers. Playing against pushers is, again, one of the best things that you can do for yourself because it exposes weaknesses in your game. Whether that's both the mental aspect, you get impatient, or, flaws from like a technique perspective, like how much rally tolerance do you have? And so I think always playing pushers is really good if you actually create a list of contacts or friends who have a more push-like game style. I think it's always good to play against them because it exposes your game more than theirs. For me, the thing that I noticed was that she was very consistent across the board. Ground strokes were consistent, and then her serves were really solid too. And that got me honestly really nervous, right? I already had all this pressure built into myself. And then it's like my weaknesses are like, I'm a little prone to unforced errors. I try to hit the ball hard. I try to swing through. If you watched my previous match breakdown, got the yips with my serve. This match really was pretty nerve-wracking for me because I knew that I needed to be consistent. I knew consistency is not necessarily my strong suit. And so I had to really dig deep and focus on not breaking down mentally, especially after like certain errors, and just continuing to build rally tolerance and sustain that. The only advantage that I realized that I had was it was just the kind of the physical aspect. I had much more mobility. And so that to me told me that like I should play this match with controlled aggression. So trying my best not to go crazy, not to go for winners, but to try to move my opponent around when possible, whether that was, left and right, or even forward and back. Just trying to use that to my advantage. So it played out pretty well. First set, she serves the first game and she lands some really consistent, solid serves. And we had actually some really long extended rallies in the first game. Again, due to some of the nerves and some of the pressure, I made several unforced errors, letting her take game 1. Game 2, I was really worried because, my serve didn't feel great. I wasn't 100% confident on it. And then, of course, on the second point, I double faulted. Fortunately, I kind of bounced back from that. So that's what I was talking about the mental aspect. I was like really trying to shake it off. I was like, okay, that's okay. Keep moving on. Remember some of the things that I was practicing. And one of those things for serves was I tended to open up a little too early and kind of rotate through fast. And I was trying to stay a little more what they call side on. So I was like taking my left arm and keeping it on this side as I was kind of finishing the serve. And I was remembering to, like, that was like the one thing when I was serving, I was focused on. And that really helped, enabled me to be a little more consistent. I still had a lot of double faults, but I was doing a lot better than before. And yeah, so, it paid off, honestly. After kind of the initial nerves, I think I really got into a groove, felt a little bit more comfortable. And, not every shot was perfect, but like I felt like I was doing a really good job of kind of maintaining a higher level of consistency than normal. And then jumping into set 2, I don't think there's anything too crazy to highlight here. It's just, again, staying consistent. And maybe I think the only thing was when I was getting my first serves in, they were doing a lot of damage. This is not intentional because my serves are not good, but like there were certain points where I was hitting really great slice serves that were pushing my opponent out wide, and due to the differences in mobility, she just wasn't able to get to them. But honestly, the story of this match was the consistency aspect. So the day before this match, I played a practice match, and my consistency was generally across the board was really bad in that match. Like if you pull up some of the stats from my previous match, get, the percentage shots compared to, this one, you look at like the ground strokes, for example, right? The forehand's so much more consistent. Serves going in also much better. And so, yeah, that kind of summarizes the match that got me to 2 UTR. So as you guys know, I like to kind of wrap up at least the main video segment with my favorite point. We get a solid serve from her. Good pace, honestly. Get the backhand in. She pushes me up to the net. I tried to start hitting deep, and then from here it's just, again, another consistent rally. We had several of these, and yeah, this is where I'm talking about the kind of controlled aggression. Was able to get that kind of almost flick like shot out wide on the forehand. And yeah, that's something honestly is a big weakness of mine. Is actually I still don't really know how to tackle approach shots yet and like short balls. I get to the ball a little bit late, and so it's not high above the net, so I can't just smash it. And then yeah, it's working on that stroke to give it like a little bit of flick and a little bit of topspin to play with the angles. And so that wraps up this video breakdown. If you guys like what you're seeing, this is interesting content to you, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button. If there's questions or anything else you want to learn, leave a comment. Happy to answer stuff. If you guys have feedback on this formatting, let me know. I'm happy to make changes. I want to know what you guys are interested in learning. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.